Come with me and you'll see a review of a movie called Wonka from Paul King, director of the two Paddington movies before. I know that doesn't rhyme, but it stars Timothy Chalamet. No, I'm not going to sing throughout this entire video. In this movie, we follow a young Willy Wonka, played by Chalamet, as he is trying to become the character that we get to eventually know him as. And in this movie, you're seeing all of the hardships that came along the way, but also all of the whimsy and the personality that went along with what made Willy Wonka who he was. And that's essentially the movie. As I mentioned in the opening, song that you heard and was music to your ears, hopefully, this movie was directed by the guy who made the two Paddington movies, and those movies are fantastic. I've loved both the movies that he's made so far in that, universe, and so naturally I'm excited to see what else he's going to do. And I loved Charlie and the Chocolate Factory growing up. Like, that was a book I used to go back to pretty often. I remember reading it in school for the first time, and then eventually there was a copy of it at home, and then I read Great Glass Elevator 1,000 times as well. Those were books that were very special, and that's why I really love this character and want to see him done justice in the best way possible. And I would say after seeing this movie that one of the things out the gate that I really love is Timothy Chalamet. He's a fantastic actor. I've seen him in so many things at this point, and every single time I have not been disappointed by the performance that he gives on screen. He is such a charismatic presence, and definitely someone who understands just how to bring, everything into a role. And he really does that in this movie. He's fantastic in this. And he has this level of whimsy and fun to him that Willy Wonka has, but also that level of darkness in that character, which is somewhat there because there's a lot that leads to this moment, and eventually the version that you see as he grows older. And I think that was captured really, really well by Paul King, who does a really great job directing once again. Again, bringing in that flair and that, personality which he has with the Paddington movies into this one. But he manages to do a really good job of making this movie absolutely pop on screen. It's very colorful and very visually dazzling throughout. There's some really wonderfully choreographed sequences. Some musical numbers are not quite as great as some of the other ones, but I think that they did a very good job overall with some of that. And it's also incredibly funny and, like I said, very whimsical. That is the word of the day when it comes to Wonka. Whimsical. There is so much in this movie that is just so overblown and out there, but it has to be because Wonka's chocolates are able to do that. Whenever you eat one of them, they have something magical about them, and bringing that to life in the movie as they did, I think it works really effectively. The supporting cast that is with Wonka, all of these characters who are also struggling and trying to make a life for themselves, are brought to life wonderfully. Really great supporting cast over here as well, and all of them having a wonderful time, which is something that you can't levy against this movie. You can't watch this and think that, they had a hard time filming this. Everybody here is having so much fun that you can tell that every time they were on set to do a scene, they were having the time of their lives, which is something that you really want in a movie. Whenever you see that, it's immediately, you can, have a more fun watching the movie, if that makes any sense. Not all of the humor lands. Some of the jokes do fall a little bit flat, and some things could be a little more, refined in some cases, but I mean, there is one running joke especially that eventually kind of loses its flair. But when it's very funny and when it's entertaining, it's very funny and entertaining. But it's also very emotional. It has a lot of beats to it which are very, very heartrending. And there's definitely that aspect throughout the film. Again, made by the guy who made Paddington. You're going to have a few of those moments. There's a couple of things in particular that definitely do tug at your heartstrings. Now, does that mean the movie, like I said, is perfect? No, it's not. I already mentioned there's a couple of things. I don't think all of the humor lands. I don't think it's all as tightly written as it can be. Some things are a little predictable. You sort of see, plot elements coming from a mile away. But at the end of the day, I can't say I didn't have fun watching Wonka. It was still a very entertaining movie. And it was one that I was glad to have seen after the movie was over, and I do recommend checking it out. Families are gonna have a ball with this, so if Christmas weekend when it rolls around and you're thinking of what to take your little kids for, this is happening. You're going to go see this movie. And I hope you guys enjoy this movie when it does come out. It's a very entertaining time. It honors the legacy of the character really, really well. And I think it does a really good job of making the character in this version that you're seeing. It's Chalamet's own take on it, which is something that I really like, because this could have easily been a caricature performance. You could have had something where he is just channeling what Gene Wilder did. But I'm glad that that's not happening over here. I'm glad that he's getting to do what he wants to do with that role and do it in the most effective way. The bond that he's creating with the other characters, the moments where he gets to just burst into song and, just really have fun with everything. I think he does a really good job of making that personality his own, which is something that I think really does work in this movie's favor. He's not supposed to be Gene Wilder just yet. Also, I have to talk about Hugh Grant as an Oompa Loompa. That was something. He was very funny. He's not in the movie as much as you'd think, but whenever he shows up, it's pretty entertaining, and he does a really good job with it. Hugh Grant's filmography recently is so funny to me. Like, he's doing all kinds of crazy stuff at the moment, which, good for him. He's having a good time. The previous thing I saw him in was, I think, Dungeons and Dragons. So, good for that guy. Have some fun in your career every now and then. I'm gonna give Wonka an 8 out of 10. Guys, thank you very much for watching, and at the time you're seeing this, you're probably seeing the Poor Things review first, because I did a poll, and apparently that's the video people wanted first. So this is going up second. Anyway, but it's the movie I saw first. I'm seeing Poor Things right after this is finished recording, so that's very funny. But if you like this, please do subscribe. Thank you very much as always for watching, guys. I really appreciate all the support. And I'll see you on the other side with some more stuff very, very soon. And as always, have a great time at the movies.